Welcome to Tom Clark's Substack podcast. Today, I want to talk a little bit about mental health. It's a topic that is perhaps trendier than it should be, depending on your viewpoint, but it's one that we can all relate to and should spend some time addressing. I'm also going to talk about having a support system and how that support system can directly impact the creative process. An employee once told me via text one morning that she wasn't coming to work that day. When I asked her why, she answered, "Because I need a mental health day." I immediately scoffed at this, full disclosure. It's not that I didn't believe her, but she didn't exactly have the best work ethic I'd ever seen. Much of her behavior I can only describe as overdramatic. So when I read her text, I assumed it was just an excuse. I'm pretty sure I said, "Here we go," out loud. That was years ago, and since then, we've become much more enlightened as a nation when it comes to the topic of mental health. But truth be told, so have I. It's not unusual to ask for a mental health day now. In fact, it's pretty common for companies to offer such days to their people. But are we actually taking the time we need? Burnout is very real, and it can creep up when you least expect it. The body tends to push past what the mind can actually handle sometimes. It's muscle memory, if nothing else. How many times have you been working at something and recoiled when you check the clock? A burnout is not only true in a work environment, but when the rest of our lives factor into account as well. Kids, school, grocery shopping, dinner, doctor's appointments, you name it. We just go until we can't go anymore. At some point, you don't know what day it is or what comes next. I've been in that spot many times before. I've suffered exhaustion, but at the time I couldn't identify it. I only knew I couldn't function and had worked over 2 months without a day off. I was physically and mentally shot. I couldn't focus on any one activity without losing my place in the middle of it. I was also losing chunks of time. I couldn't recall the conversation I had had only minutes afterward. I was paranoid and believed everyone was out to get me. I thought that coworkers and even family were talking behind my back. Crazy, right? And don't worry, I got better. I've always had an incredibly strong work ethic. Most of that came from my mom, who taught me at a very young age that if you want something in this world, you have to earn it. No one's going to hand you anything, she'd say. You have to go get it. I took those lessons to heart. My need to prove myself combines with those lessons, always propelling me forward. I never call in sick. I work holidays. I juggle more than one task at a time and often don't ask for any help while doing it. Like so many others, I don't take the time to be in the moment as much as I'd like to. But I should. We all should. After all, you can't drive a car on a dead battery. Mom said that one too. It's easy to forget who you are and how important your mental health really is. That's why I see a therapist every 2 weeks and have been for years. It's good for me to stop, take some time, and just reflect. It helps me more than I realize, and I know it's improved my mental health beyond what I can even describe. But you don't necessarily need to pay for therapy to get what you need. The most important thing is to never forget yourself. What you're thinking, how you're feeling, and what you're going through matters. It always matters. Pushing past it to get through the day may work in the short term, but it's not a long-term solution. Sooner or later, you'll have to deal. So the next time you feel yourself operating on autopilot and can't tell which end is up, stop. Take the day if you can. At least take the afternoon. But do something to refocus, calm your nerves, and make it about you. The job, the kids, and all the rest of it will still be there, but none of it will matter if you're not there mentally. Recharge your battery. Remember that no one can determine your mental health except you. You're in control. It's too important, and so are you. If you have a solid support system around you, then you know how important it is. Honestly, your support system impacts everything. I love podcasting. It's a passion I indulge in as often as I can. When I'm not podcasting, I'm thinking about podcasting. But I don't just love the act of hosting and recording. I love promoting my shows as well. It can be a lot of work, but it's more rewarding than I can explain. I'm not changing the world with my podcast, but I love doing them. If you didn't know it before, you know it now. By the way, I'm also passionate about writing. I consider myself a writer long before I became a podcaster. This is who I am. I say all that to say this. They say that the little things in life are what's really important. And everything I just described is a prime example of that. My passions are hobbies to some people, but to me, they're everything. The supportive people in my life, they know that. It's often the people around us supporting us that make all the difference. Despite the activity, you're more apt to keep pushing if you have someone cheering you on. If you have a person in your life who encourages you, then you know what that motivation feels like. To have someone in your corner is more important than we even realize. That sort of support lifts you up and makes you feel as though you could take on the world. It amplifies your activities like nothing else can. Imagine completing your first marathon and having no one to congratulate you. How would that make you feel? Now imagine being on stage and performing. When you finish, the room is dead quiet. Are you more or less likely to come back and do it again? Now, runners don't run to receive praise, and musicians don't play because everyone loves their music. In both cases, it's the act that's important. You do it because your drive pushes you to do it. Your passion is what's important, but affirmation is also important. The same is true on the job, though the situation is different. You receive pay for your work, that's true, but if you never receive a pat on the back for that work, not even an attaboy or a, hey, this is good, I appreciate it. Money can make up for a lack of support, but only to a point. The ability to understand your passion and your aim can be tough for others. This can impact your motivation. Sometimes you're the only one who sees the end goal. It can be a struggle to get anyone around you to actually buy in. How many successful people have doubters during their journey? The chorus of, "you can't do it," can be deafening. For every well-adjusted person, there are countless others who are miserable and in a very dark place. Friends, family, and coworkers indeed impact us more than we know. When they believe in you, the sky is the limit. When they don't, the limit's the sky. But support doesn't have to be a rehearsed act of verbal acknowledgement. That sort of support is not really support. It's more lip service than anything else. It's about giving someone what they need to keep going. One person can make the difference, and that's always the case. We all need that person. We also need to be that person. It's easy to get wrapped up in our own little world at times. Needing support and not having it drags us down, making us forget about others who need it too. One text message, one phone call, one lunch can mean so much. To show someone you care and you've got their back, it's everything. I've got you. I'm here for you. Giving and receiving that support makes us better, encourages us to keep moving forward. We feel better about ourselves, and most importantly, we feel seen. Now, I get it. The idea of being seen is cliche at this point, I know. We hear it all the time, and it can sound hollow after a while. But knowing someone out there sees you and cares about you, it's the difference between everything and nothing. Take a moment and think about everyone in your life that gives you that level of support. Do it right now. How many are there? Is it enough? If someone in your life gets that question, will he or she think of you? Surround yourself with people who cheer you on, win or lose. Be that person who's cheering too. It's a little thing, but it's more important than anything. Thanks much for listening and subscribing. You can find the original pieces from this episode on my Medium at medium.com/@TomClarkPods and on Substack at tomclarkpods.substack.com. Please subscribe on the site and be sure to like and comment on today's episode. For more of my podcasts, please visit boinkstudios.com, BOINK, boinkstudios.com. Thanks much, kids. We'll see you next time.